I'm Parker, and I use they, them pronouns.
And I'm Mike, and I use he, him pronouns.
And this is
the Graphic Novel Podcast. All right, this is a show that we do every week where we review and discuss graphic novels, zines, other types of comics. Then we throw in a little bit of real life. Like what?
We talk about some queer issues, race issues, death, relationships.
Do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, every week we come out with a new episode. If you like the show, we'd love it if you went to Apple Podcasts, gave us 5 stars. That's how we get other listeners. We can check us out on Spotify or YouTube.
And if you subscribe, then the moment this episode goes live, it pops right up in your feed and it'll be there waiting for you when you're ready to listen. Most importantly, share with your friends. That's how we get more listeners.
That's right. And you can interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, Insta. And if you visit us on anchor.fm/graphic novel podcast, you can actually leave us a voice message where we can, if it's something that's not too horrible, we can actually play it on the air. So how you doing this week, Parker?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good, too.
That's always good.
Yeah, it's doing better than 2 weeks ago, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. The machines are all working.
Yes, everything is working wonderfully. We got new stuff going here. So, I think everything is going good. And work is interesting, so to say the least. But COVID and everything, we're getting close to things starting to open up again, which is a little scary.
Yes. Honestly, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I know. It's
like I just got into the groove where everything's feeling kind of semi-normal,
mm-hmm.
and now it's like the anxiety is back of.
Yeah, I know.
Like what is the new normal going to look like?
I just said today too. I kind of like having the whole family here all the time. Yeah. I mean, I'm usually Jolando too. Oops, our kid Woods. I
think we use all their names.
Yeah,
we talked about both kids last week and just use their names. So
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, they're home every day doing their schoolwork, and we're helping them because sometimes they get stuck on things, and we just have to explain things. And
the schoolwork's gotten a little more. I don't want to say complicating, challenging. It's gotten a little more challenging, which is good because they would sit down and like finish their stuff in an hour and not need any help because it was just like, question and answer. Now it's things that they really have to, they're doing
mm-hmm.
like reports on stuff
and fractions
and wow.
That kind of stuff. So yeah.
Those fun things.
Yeah, so it's cool. Okay, but I mean, we're the world has to get back to normal at some point. So.
Yes, but I'm looking forward to, like I said, the not looking forward to, but I'm curious as to what the new normal is going to look like, because it's not going to be just everything the same. Like you said, I haven't been in oh my God, I haven't stepped into a store in months because you do all of our shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's going to be different when I finally step into the stores. Like you said, all those places, the glass partitions are all there. They're not going to just take them all down now.
No, they spent money on that stuff. I think they're going to stay up for protection.
Yeah, exactly. And it needs to, I mean,
mm-hmm.
at the very least until we get a vaccine and
exactly.
If it's not going to interfere with like customer, happiness, fulfillment,
I think
then
it's
not gonna.
I think people are used to it, so it's
right.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna be weird though.
Yeah, it will be.
I mean, it's like at banks. You used to like those old banks at down in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, the first time that I went to a bank
that
they had the giant glass. And
really?
Separating everybody. Yeah, because we had all. I mean, we lived in a small town,
mm-hmm.
and so everybody, you knew everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know any different. To me, that was normal.
That was normal, but to me, it was like, oh my God, is this dangerous?
Yeah.
But it was just like that's how they made.
Of course, it was dangerous.
Banks. I was scared all the time.
It was Buffalo. It was dangerous.
I mean, I'm sure there's banks down in the Seattle area.
You're right, probably is.
That are that way, but in old buildings.
Yeah. All right. I just have one thing this week. Just one piece of news this week. Dave Pilkey, the famous Captain Underpants / Dogman creator, who's from this area, right?
I don't remember if he's from this area.
I thought he was.
I think we did find that out. We started looking into him because of he has ADHD.
Oh, right.
So our child is like, what?
Yeah.
How cool.
Well, so Dogman was his second creation that came out of his Captain Underpants books, which were huge. Every one of his books, they do an initial 5 million print run.
That seems so
books
amazing.
Too. 5 million print run.
Yeah, physical books, yeah.
And then how many do they sell electronically too? And how many of them go to libraries that get used over and over and over?
He does. He lives in Bainbridge Island.
Yep.
He's from Cleveland, Ohio, though.
Okay, but he does live right around here.
No. Well, I mean, it's Bainbridge.
Okay, what, an hour?
No, I'm just saying it's Bainbridge. It's
okay, so it's upper class.
Yeah,
this man has some money. He's selling a lot of. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, you just said 5 million.
So from his Dogman books, he now has another character called Lil Petey, which is a cat that he's got a new series starting in December. He's got a new Dogman coming out in September and a Lil Petey coming out in September. And
wait, December, you mean?
December. And he says that that's based on his mother, which is interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Not too long ago, last month, got a call or a message from, actually that's what it was. I saw a message from one of the people we follow from Headlocked Comics. Says, anybody want to check out our comic?
Okay.
So I said, sure.
Yeah.
So Mike, one of the creators, sent it to me, and 155 pages, Headlocked, The Last Territory, illustrated serial drama, and it must be Mike Kingston because founded by Michael Kingston. So I'm guessing he's probably the one that sent it. It's if you like wrestling like your friend Melissa does.
Yeah.
This is a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler does the cover on one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
got a little voice crack there.
Pretty good too.
Wait.
Yes,
Jerry Lawler drew that?
Yes, Jerry Lawler.
Wow.
Jerry the King
Lawler.
The King Lawler. Yeah, that's him. Cover artist.
Wow, quite talented there.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah. It's really good. I mean, you never know what kind of talents people have. That's why.
I know. It shouldn't surprise me. People have some. I mean, fucking Bush and his paintings. Who would have thought he could? I couldn't paint as well as he does.
No, exactly.
I'm not saying he's like a master painter or anything.
Exactly. He's a masturbator. But
I don't know.
He's probably not. Anyhow, so the story, I'm not going to go through it. We're getting through the whole thing, but it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I forget if there's 4 or 5 issues.
Did he send a preview or he sent the whole book?
He sent the whole thing. It's
cool.
It's like a paperback, like the first 5 issues altogether.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And it's a story of this guy who I think what happened was he wanted to be a wrestler, and
we all.
Well, yes, but they only have like I forgot, like 150 people that are on the payroll, like 150 wrestlers.
Yeah,
so
that's not
of all the people that want to do it, like the thousands of men and women that want to be wrestlers, only a couple make it.
Yeah,
and they've got to be.
But
really
that's like
good.
any.
Exactly, like football. Like
I mean, I know that
baseball.
it's not real, but
but
it is. It is.
I'm sorry. It's still entertainment and a lot.
You
of
have to
practice,
choreography, yeah.
And they're strong too. These people work out. Yeah. Well, they do some of them.
I'm sure they do some of the things.
I'm sorry. And some of these guys came out. I mean, look at The Rock, man.
Oh yeah,
he is.
He's a good actor.
He really is. He's a good actor.
I feel like he's a better actor than he was
wrestler.
on. Well, I don't remember the wrestling as much, but he's a good actor, and like I feel like on wrestling, everybody is not the best actors.
They exaggerate because
they're not the best actors. Yeah, no, it's like a soap opera.
Exactly. Well, it is exactly that.
Yeah, with wrestling and hitting people with chairs and stuff.
Exactly. And
but you have to know how to do all that
exactly, because we love Glow.
Oh yeah.
I mean, watching like the background, the backdrop of practicing these whole scenes over and over. And somebody is you're supposed to turn right and they forget and they go left and they get clocked in the head with a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people can get hurt.
Fall. You make. I mean, you fall the wrong way, even a little bit. You don't arch your back enough, or you don't get your feet down in time. That could be bad.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to do when you jump off the rope, and you're supposed to flip over and land on your back, and instead you land on your neck. Because you just didn't. Your foot slipped when you jumped or something. And next thing you know, you're paralyzed from the neck down or whatever.
Did that happen?
There's guys that have been paralyzed and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Anyhow, so I mean,
I
I
thought
think
you were talking about like a specific thing.
no, but they show some stuff in here because there's a newspaper reporter that's trying to get the scoop on the inside bad stuff going on.
Oh.
So that's like part of the story.
Interesting.
And yeah, and this one guy who I think he pissed somebody off somehow. And I think I missed it.
Oh, okay.
But this other guy, rock kind of like character who's retired, is going to make a comeback. So he hires this guy to be like his trainee. So he has somebody to like work out with.
Oh, okay.
But everybody knows who the guy is. So he makes him wear a mask. So he wears the mask all the time. So nobody knows who he really is.
Nice.
Yeah. So
interesting.
But it's one of these stories where the young guy, he hasn't learned. He's just got this chip on his shoulder. Like, I should be doing this. I worked for it, but he really hasn't. And he hasn't earned his dues, and he hasn't learned, and he doesn't respect, all this stuff. So he's got to learn all these things, and it happens through these issues. And
interesting.
And it's a pretty good story. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. That's it's Headlocked from Headlocked.
Very good.
Yeah, from Headlocked Comics, and you can check them out. They're definitely on Twitter, and I'm sure they have a website. But yeah, it's good. And there's another one we got that I think I want you to check out, the Quarter Killer one.
Oh, okay.
I want you to check that one out before I do a review on it, because maybe we can talk about it together.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. I know you showed me a few of the background things. It looked pretty cool. So I'm definitely interested in checking that out.
All right. So what are we doing?
The main event.
All right.
The main event. Winging it.
Winging it in the left corner.
120
in the Hell's L's
156
t-shirt.
pages.
All right.
All right. So this week we read In Vitro by William Roy, just released on March 31st of this year. So that just can't wait.
Just
April.
March.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I can't keep track.
Just
of
released in the U.S.
I was thinking last week, but no, it was several weeks ago now.
Yep, just released in the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yep.
It was released overseas before that.
Yes, I'll discuss that in a moment.
Oh, okay. A newly wedded couple is full of life, love, and inspiration. They have everything they've always wanted, except a child. From unsuccessful attempts and to repeated failures, the two newlyweds face a menacing foe: sterility. Together, they embark on the confusing journey that is in vitro fertilization, haunted by the hyperbole of WebMT, and guilt of infertility. Damn. Say it again. Guillaume experiences the daily embarrassment of sperm donations, tests with dreaded results, and endless consultations, not to mention the specter of his own estranged father, who reappears suddenly in his life. With realistic, self-effacing charm, William Roy humbly and accurately shares a deeply human experience that is propelled by unshakable hope.
William Roy is a passionate, self-taught artist. He began his creative career as an editor and a director of documentaries. In 2014, he published his first graphic novel, which I am going to attempt. It's De Pierre and Fiv, or F-I-V, an autobiographical account of his experiences with IVF. He then followed that up with Hedy Lamarr, An Incredible Life, illustrated by Sylvain Dorange, a project he had been inspired to write for a very long time. He currently resides in Paris. And In Vitro, which is what was this book that was released in 2014, is the translated version of this story. So, this is a good book. I mean, let's just start with that.
It was heavy. I mean, you know that it's going to be some serious stuff.
In vitro fertilization. Exactly.
Right. You know right off the bat. Yes. It tells you right in the
exactly
what you're looking at.
And exactly. And I saw that, and I got this. This is from Humanoids.
Okay.
He did the story and the art. Benjamin Croze was the translator. And
okay, right.
So I look at it, and I read the first couple pages. I'm like, all right. And then I just kept reading it, and I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. And like you said, there's a lot of different aspects to it that all roll together. All of the fatherhood, like him being a father, his father,
Yeah.
The I guess the shame he felt of because he was the one who, it turned out, it may have been from when he was younger, when he had a hernia operation.
Yeah.
It looked like that may have been what actually made him sterile.
Well, I mean, he doesn't.
He never says
he doesn't
exactly
say that, but that was my
but
thought too when
yeah,
I read it, because he talks about it.
yes.
There's like 20 feet of like tubing that
Yeah.
somehow got kinked or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he explains.
Yes, and by the time the sperm gets all the way out there, they're like too tired and they're dead, basically.
Yeah, the drawings of the sperm were my favorite.
Yeah, but yes, this is a different kind of book. I mean, this is definitely not for everybody.
I mean, I don't know.
You think so?
It was educational, which I liked. They talked about. I mean, there was some stuff that like I didn't understand, but it didn't matter because you still got it. Like you don't get the technical, little details of it, but it was enough that it broadened your understanding, as well as allowed for the entertainment factor to come in. And I mean, as well as like relating it to life. I mean, we were fortunate enough that we didn't have to go that route, but we did try for over a year before we actually got pregnant. And I like taking those tests and having them come back negative, and I know that feeling so well, and so I connected to it right away because I knew that pain.
Exactly. And what he does to try and bridge that gap between the science and stuff is he creates this fake professor to explain things.
Right. I love that.
Professor Bureauer, something not.
Yeah, can you? I couldn't even. I just.
And the
professor was on
the
it.
word that explains his symptom, I guess, of I can't
Multiple
even
symptoms.
I can't even. It's like Ogul Asthen Otera Tazospermia.
OTS, right?
Yes,
but
that's
OATS, right?
Oats, right?
Right.
But that's the word. It's literally like, and they make fun of like a special supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which they make fun of. It says how humiliating supercalifragilistic is saying that, and they're like, you're still longer,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're still in the lead on this one.
Yeah,
no one's cheating, but he does this. He puts all these things together. Talking about how all these things happen, finds out that he's sterile, and he has to tell his wife. He has to tell his wife that he's sterile, and she's like, you know what? We'll get through this. We'll do IVF. We'll do something.
She's so positive and just. I mean, of course she is, but it's like, you know what? If we can't have a baby naturally, then we'll adopt. It's like, like I want to love a child. I want to have children with you. I want to make a family with you, and whatever path we have to take, we take.
Exactly. But he has several stumbling blocks. He looks at it as like, all of my ancestors did this. They all got through this. The Roy name has continued on for generation after generation after generation. And now here I am.
Yeah.
I don't have any brothers. And the Roy name is going to end if I do fuck this up. If I do fuck this up, there's going to be no more Roys. And it's going to be me. And this weighs really heavy on him.
I feel like that is... I feel like that's something that a lot of men kind of feel like they put a lot of. Do
you remember my dad?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say though?
About that?
Yeah.
Because my stepbrother had daughters, and so my dad didn't have another son.
Yeah.
So I was the only chance of him carrying it out. Now
but he wasn't your blood child.
I know,
or your
but
blood
he
father.
Didn't care.
I know, but
I know that.
My point was,
I mean, my uncle, my dad's brother had
children,
2 sons. So
only one of them had kids. So
wait, did he?
Michael didn't have kids,
and I don't think Christopher did he? I don't know. Oh. Neither one of them may have had kids.
That I don't know.
But the other ones, those are not Rizzos. So I may have been the only one left around from the family.
But that is different.
It is, because all the rest of them were women, so they all married different names.
It doesn't matter.
But that's a thing with guys carrying that name on.
The name, but the blood.
The blood. Yeah. Yes. I'm not blood, but to my dad,
because I mean,
it was a big deal
to him,
still.
it was his blood, because he said even adopting, he didn't think that he could adopt and have that same love for his kid.
I've always said that too. I don't know if I could either.
I mean, but you have stepkids that you love as your own.
Yeah, I know that, but that was a little different, I think.
You think so?
Maybe not.
You love the kids as much as I say kids. They're grown adults.
I know.
But you love them as much as you love your own.
I know. So,
which is what
you might be right.
Which is what's so odd to me, because at points we've talked. My mother was adopted, and so part of me has always kind of wanted to adopt, because I want to give that love.
Right.
I want to give that, another kid a happy family, and so we talked about it, and you're like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I could adopt a kid. But then I think about the way you had your two kids, and you love them like your own and raise them like your own.
You're right. So William and his partner Guillaume. They went to a doctor, and a fertility doctor, who said, "Yeah, we can do this." And how about the part with the
the slideshow is my. I love the book starts out with a slideshow, and it should the clunk.
Oh yeah, the slides.
I loved it. I could hear it happening.
Yes, if you've seen slides,
this is when we met.
Yes, because it drops it and picks one up, turns. Yep. If you've never seen a slide, then go look up the sound on YouTube or something. But
that's got to be an ASMR sound, just the chunk.
Yeah.
Probably not.
But then during this, while they're visiting this doctor, the doctor is holding what Guillaume thinks is a rosary, and he's like rolling it through his fingers and holding it, and he's like,
and asking them, very personal questions about their sperm and their health and
if they smoke and all kinds of things. And then he's like, a doctor with a blatant religious symbol in a state hospital too,
and they're in Paris. Did we say that?
We may have, but
okay, so they're in Paris.
It really bothered him that this doctor was holding on to this rosary bead. And
it would make me angry too. If I honestly, I don't think I'd sit through it that long.
And the doctor had it the whole time. Did you know what it was called?
I didn't know what it was called, but I knew what
you knew what it was. Yes, for other reasons. But what it is when he's checking his testicles, he finds out that it's an orchidometer, and basically it's a bunch of different sized balls that you measure the size of a testicle with. You just hold one and you kind of feel them to see if they're the same size, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't really get the point of it, really. I don't to see if it hasn't
Prater's balls. That's what they're named after its creator.
Right. I don't know what you would like. I can see to see if they've matured, maybe.
It is used for certain gonadal disorders, or more generally to evaluate the proper growth in adolescence during puberty.
Yes, but see, you wouldn't need that for a grown man. I wouldn't think.
No, but he's having issues, so they want to know if his grew probably.
Okay.
If his grew properly, because I'm sure that happens too.
Yeah, probably.
And, they found out that he had the hernia operation, and then this is where his father starts to come in. The doctor goes into his background. Has your father had any
prostate issues? I think was the first thing they asked about.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. So they go on, and the story basically is them trying to have a kid, and the first time doesn't work. Second time, that's the whole thing. The story,
the whole process, and
yes, the whole process.
The jerking off the
whole having to go to the doctor's office, whacking off. I mean, they show the one guy walking in his bicycle cleats, walks in at 2:40, walks in, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Smith." At 2:43, he walks. Smith. I know, but he walks out at 2:43. He's so good at it. He just walks in, goes done, and he leaves his sample, and he's gone. But he must be a regular donor or something.
Yes, I would think so. Yeah. Although the bicycling probably isn't good for his sperm.
It isn't. Because I had a friend who had a problem with that. But anyhow, so there, that's that's the story. We're not going to tell everything. We're not going to go into all the details.
We try not to do that. It's a good story. So
his art is very good too.
Oh yes, I loved his art. And when there was panels where they were visiting friends that had kids and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the couple, they were always in black and white. The rest of them, it wasn't full color, but
he used primarily blues.
There was blues and yellows and
blues and
like
grays
background,
and yeah.
But they always stood out because they were always just white.
And when you did some flashbacks, they were in black and white.
Yeah,
which is very cool. Yeah, the art was really good. And just skimming through it real quick here, I remember now that it is full color, but the way he does things is like one page is not like a full color page. It's like greens, all greens just on this page.
The whole page, all the panels have a very muted,
different
yellow
shades of greens or yellows or red. Yes.
But like I said, Emma and Guillaume are always white.
Like black and white, yeah.
Black and white, yes. Yeah. They lack
exactly
color.
Like they stand out.
Yeah.
But it's and that's how the whole book is. It's a full color book, and you've got this interesting way that he's portraying everything in the colors. But his father was became this central issue to the story because out of nowhere, his father emails him after 20 years. He's in the middle of trying to have a kid.
That comes later in the book, though, because he talks about because of the issue.
He starts thinking about it.
He starts thinking about what his childhood was,
right,
and thinking about his parents, leaving him at his grandma's to go finalize their divorce. I don't understand why it had to happen that way, but that's what happened, right? So, the grandma's. It seems like it's the mother's parents. And he doesn't understand what's going on and why he's being left, and he just wants to be with his mom. And so the mom and dad then drive away, and he's like running and calling after them, and she's in the car. And of course, he doesn't know that this conversation happened, but I'm sure he can imagine that this is what happened. And the mom's like, "We have to go back and comfort him." And dad's like, "No, I got to get to Paris by tonight," or whatever it was. I can't remember the detail right now, but it was like he just lacked this. He lacked the ability to show love and care for his child.
Yeah.
And you see that throughout everything. He just he didn't. It
his
was
father.
His father was just that connection. He was his. He owned him because he created him, kind of thing. And so like we talked about the birthday party. He's 13. Did you say?
Right.
And his it was his father's weekend, and he had gotten invited to a birthday party.
A friend's party, right.
And so Guillaume's mom was on the phone, excuse me, with his father and said, well, he got invited to this birthday party. And so she tries to like find this balance. Let's make it work. Okay, you can take him the next weekend too. So you get him 2 weekends in a row to make up for the fact that you don't get him for a few hours while he goes to his friend's birthday party.
Which he doesn't get invited to a lot.
He doesn't get invited to a lot of birthday parties, but it's I don't know. It was so sad. So the father's like, no, I'm busy. I can't take him that weekend. This is my weekend, and this is when I'm going to take him. And so he agrees to pick him up from the birthday party, and she's going to drop him off to the birthday party, and he'll pick him up. So she drops him off at the birthday party and says, oh, his father's going to pick him up
at 2:00.
At 2:00. This is when she drops him. At 2:40. His dad shows up and says it's time to go. And Guillaume is like, no, I'm not going with you. Like, I just got here. And so then the mom of the party, I can't remember what her name was or the child's name was. But the mother of that's hosting the party says, not everybody isn't even here yet. Like the party hasn't even started. And the father's like, I don't care. Like we're leaving. I have things to do. I have places to be.
Yep.
And that was it. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that he was at a friend's house. It didn't matter. What mattered was the dad's time, and this was his weekend. Even though he didn't give a shit about spending time with his kid.
The dad was with his girlfriend.
He just had to be in control of the situation. He had to be the one who was saying where you were, when you could be there, and all that.
Yes, because here's exactly what it is. This is the problem. What's not fair is you going somewhere else during my weekend. You come to see me,
Exactly.
not to spend your day with your friends you see every day. And it also happens we have tickets for a horse show at 4:00.
Oh, that's right. The horse show.
And
Yeah.
so Guillaume's like, it's not fair. Your horses make me sick. So he's just like, this is not what I wanted to do. This is not what I wanted to be at my friends at a party. I could have come and saw you next week. Dad's like, no, I'm in control. I'm in control. And
that's how it is.
Yeah,
and you can completely understand why this kid did not want to spend time, and ultimately decides, yeah, I can make the decision on where I spend my time, and I'm not going to spend it with my father anymore.
Yes, but it goes both ways.
And that was after the father yeah, exactly. That was after the father started canceling on him, and
canceling, and it became less and less where he started seeing him.
Right.
So finally at 13, he's like, you know what? I don't care about this anymore. Don't need to see my father.
Yeah.
And then he
gave up on him. And understandably, because the father made no effort.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't want to drag your story out of you.
But go ahead.
But I immediately thought of you and your family when I read this, because that was a lot of your kind of what your story was.
I think it's a lot of what's buried deep in my brain. There's a lot of this. But I mean, honestly, I only know what I've been told. I don't remember anything about my father.
That's true. And
it's all been told to me because my mother kicked him out when I was 7.
Right.
So this is my biological father. We were talking about my stepfather earlier when we were talking about the name.
Right.
But yeah, it's only the stories that I've been told. So and I believe a lot of it because my aunt corroborated a lot of stuff over the years too. So I think because my biological father was an asshole and he would drink and he would turn into an evil person. Yeah. He would throw things and he'd yell and they'd have to leave events early and stuff. So I think that
you don't have any memories though of that kind of stuff happening.
Any of it.
Yeah.
The memory I have is sitting in the back seat of the car, pulling up to the bar, him coming out and looking in the car, saying hi, giving my mother some money.
Yeah.
That's the memory I have. That's a great memory.
You have memories of going to your grandparents' house, though?
I have a memory of going to my grandparents' house once or twice.
Oh, okay.
By myself. Because my brother and sister were younger, so they didn't come.
Right. That happened a lot. Your mother used to drop you off, like at church or whatever.
Drop me off
at church and leave me. Because she had littles to take care of. Because you're young. You were born and then 4. Okay, 3 years. Okay,
3 and 4 years younger.
That's not too big of a gap, but at that they were right together.
Yes, they were close together, and I was 3 years older, so I was, I'm in school, they're still home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I would go, when I was a kid, I would be gone for the day. I mean, I don't remember going home during the day.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I did to grab something to eat.
Yeah.
But I was on my own always. I went around the corner down the street, used to play hockey with older kids. Used to go on my bike and ride miles away when I wasn't supposed to. I mean, basically wasn't supposed to go anywhere. I'd ride miles away. I'd go in the clubhouse with my friend. I'd go across the street. We lived directly across the street.
Oh, the clubhouse, huh?
I used
what
to
happened there?
Across things that I can't repeat. And, used to go across the street. We had a creek, and in the winter it was a fast-moving creek.
Oh,
we would go over and play by the creek. I mean, I could have drowned at any time because I didn't know how to swim then. But we used to go play over there. And another kid that lived across the street had a clubhouse, and he had a whole bunch of Playboys in there. And we used to go in there and read those. Well, we didn't read them.
Look
through them. But I mean, so I did all kinds of things I was not supposed to do because I was just left on my own.
Right.
Always.
But he also talks in the book about his stepfather, who it sounds like raised him and thought of him as his own.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also often wondered, and we've talked about it a little bit through the years, but I feel like your first marriage was to somebody who already had children, and then your second marriage was to somebody who already had children. And I feel like you felt like you weren't gonna you didn't want to continue the line that was your biological father's, because you didn't want to be a shitty father like he was. You wanted to step in and play that stepfather role.
And that's
like your dad,
my stepfather,
who was technically your stepfather.
And he was dad from probably the first year that we were together with them. I
Right.
mean, he became dad and
Right.
never was anything else. But yes, first marriage, definitely I thought at 30 years old I could step right in and do it, and I was not fucking prepared for that. I was not mature enough for that.
Yeah.
I thought I could step in and be stepfather, and I fucked that whole family up so bad.
Yeah.
Those kids hate me. They're adults now. They're
And
in
still
they're in their
hate you.
30s, maybe 40,
Yeah.
and they hate me. They met my sister one time at the one at a bar that my sister worked at. And when they realized who my sister was, they started talking about me, like what a shitty person I was. And finally, my sister was like, "That's my brother. I think you should stop talking like that." You know,
even if it's true.
yes. Whether he was
at the time,
he was a dick or not,
at the time you made bad
I think
decisions.
you need to stop. I agree. I made bad decisions. Second time, when I first met her, I didn't know she had kids. She didn't tell me for like, for like a month after we were talking.
Oh, well, that's not too long.
No, but I didn't know immediately.
Right.
So,
okay.
And
I see what you're saying.
The other one, we lived in the same city. This one was in a different state. So it was not something I planned that was ever going to work or anything like that. Yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, look, okay, I can be stepdad to these ones.
Okay.
So it wasn't like that.
Did you worry when you found out that she had kids?
I was just a little upset because I didn't know.
But you could, I mean, obviously now you can understand why she would protect her children from somebody who she doesn't know, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Anyway.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But was there something about my father that we're getting at, or just...
I don't remember where we started.
I mean,
but that was part of it, was just recognize, like, because... when you see his stepfather was that person, he was the father to him,
right?
And so it just made me think of your dad and the way that he raised you. I mean, was he the best dad? No,
he wasn't perfect.
You know, he was older.
He was a good person, and he tried pretty hard,
and he gave you guys a decent life.
He did give us a decent life,
and he cared about you,
and I took his name.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it meant something to me.
Right.
To have some stability. I mean, I was 13 and
because you were quote unquote the man of the house.
Yeah.
You know, your mom really relied on you to do a lot of the heavy lifting that most 7-year-olds should not be expected to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can go into that into a whole other thing. We were just talking about that yesterday, or the day before, how, you know, how I think that that's another whole issue, you know?
Yeah.
I think both my parents fucked me up.
Well, and it makes
in different ways.
It's made it difficult for you to,
to
like give
completely.
Well, yes. But as far as parenting goes, when I've suggested, I make a lot of the parenting decisions, but when
you haven't suggested that, you've made them.
when I've said, you know, it's, you know, the kids need to be doing chores. You're like, no, yeah, they don't need to do that. They're too young. They don't need to do that. And I think a lot of it is because you remember doing the stuff as a kid, and it wasn't because you needed to be taught.
It's because I had to.
It was because you had to, because nobody else was.
Yeah.
So
because my brother and sister were too little to do any of that.
Well, I mean, there were no other
3 years old.
Your mother was in a deep depression and suffering, and you know. Yeah. I think you wanted to take care of her. Really.
Probably.
You spent your whole life taking care of your mom.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she would never see that. She would never see it from that aspect.
It's not important, though. It's not important that she's...
So in this book, then, his father, I mentioned earlier, his father emails him out of the blue in the middle of him trying to have a kid now. And
timing?
He had already been thinking about his dad, and it's like all of a sudden, and he didn't answer him for like a month the first time, and he finally wrote back. His
understandably,
father, yes,
I can't even imagine.
He's still working, and he's trying to go through this, and you know, he's trying to juggle all these things,
and feeling the guilt of knowing that he's the problem, and his wife could just go with anybody else and have a happy life and have children and you know, live her life.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of guilt on his shoulders.
Yeah, he had a lot of it. And, you know, when he finally got back to his father, he's like, you know, I don't know why. You know, why are you contacting me? You know, and they went back and forth a couple times, and he's like, you know what? I don't think that I want to talk to you.
Well, yeah, because his dad was
he's still kind of a dick to him.
Yeah. He's like, It took you so long.
It's been 20 years. I think we can put some of this behind us.
Basically, like, get over it.
And he's like, I was 13 years old. I shouldn't have been the one that should make those decisions. You should have said, I still want to see my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and then fought him in court, right? Fought him in court to pay for school or something.
Oh yeah, there was something about that for years. He was fighting over stuff. The father was so his father was a dick to him, and
I think his father was just a dick.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that he has grandchildren.
Yeah.
Which means that he has other children.
He has other children. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that was part of the the straw breaking the camel's back there. It's like, you know what? I'm working on my own family here. I don't need to know about your other family that you raised. And perfect thing, my biological father had a whole nother family.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that at some point on the show.
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, he got married, I believe, and he had multiple kids who are not that far in age from me.
No.
They're in their 40s.
Yeah.
So I mean.
But I mean, who's not to say that he was? I'm sure he didn't change his tune. He was still an asshole, and he was probably abusive to her, and probably abusive to his children.
But she stayed with him.
Yeah. And I mean, if his obituary was any truthful, which I don't know, most people aren't truthful, but it seemed like people were sad he was dead when he finally died.
Who knows?
I remember for years you I can't wait for him to die. Like he never reached out to you. Can you imagine if he had reached out to you? What would you have said?
I wouldn't have wanted to see him.
You would have just ignored it, you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
But no, we had talked about that. I had said that I was going to, if he didn't have a will, I was going to claim as his firstborn.
Yeah.
I was going to claim.
You were going to claim
estate.
Everything if he had nothing.
Yeah.
Or if he had his wife would have gotten everything.
I know that.
And when he did die, and you didn't do anything because that's who you are. But I understand the wanting to punish him, but you would just be punishing them.
Yeah, I don't.
And I think you recognize that at that point.
I didn't really give a shit about that part of it.
Oh, you wouldn't care about punishing them?
Fuck no.
Why? They didn't have anything to do with what an asshole father he was.
Oh, I don't care. Fuck them. They didn't do anything for me either. So.
But maybe they didn't even. Do they even know you existed?
Of course they do.
Why?
Of course they do.
Why?
Because if my cousin's friend that lived next to him knew and could get the stuff back through the grapevine to us, they knew that we existed.
You think the children knew that you guys existed?
They're adults. They know.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they know.
I don't know. Parents have a weird way of keeping secrets from their kids.
Were, his parents were alive for a while.
Whose parents?
My biological father's. So.
Okay.
So they knew.
Okay.
They knew.
Okay.
The grandparents would have said something at some point.
I don't know. See,
yes.
I can't assume that.
No.
You don't think that if they knew that they had half siblings?
I'm still waiting for the money that my grandmother had in the savings account for me.
Why?
And the plane that was in the trunk that my father had for me.
You're still waiting for it?
Still waiting.
You really think it's going to come?
Well, probably not, since he's been buried for a few years now. But see, this is the shit that gets fucked up in people's heads, and kids get screwed up forever. And no wonder. I always thought that.
I mean, parents always screw up their kids.
I know.
You can try and do every single thing right, and you just we're fucking up as parents.
Yeah,
we are. All you can do is try your best and apologize when you fuck up.
Yeah. But I never got apologies because nobody ever thought they did it wrong.
Of course not.
So William Roy wrote a great book here. In the end, you'll find out what happens, whether they have kids or not, or how many times they tried. It did fail at least once. I mean, they had to try it more than once.
Yeah. I did find interesting they didn't talk about the costs.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's over in France.
Yeah, where they have socialized healthcare.
Socialized healthcare. What is that?
But yeah, it's a really good book. It is entertaining. He makes the science part fun, and it's a comic. So he is self-deprecating in parts because he's talking about himself and how he feels about all this and how bad he feels about it.
Yeah. I was just going to say the average cost in the US for one round of IVF treatment, anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000.
Okay. So go on the low end, and let's say they did it 2 or 3 times, $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. That's just to get pregnant.
Now, that's not saying that insurance doesn't cover some of that.
I mean, I would venture to guess that
I know
a majority
my insurance does cover some.
But you have good insurance.
Yeah,
I would venture to guess that a lot of insurances don't.
Yeah. So, In Vitro just came out last month. It's a 150 something page.
156, I think.
That's what I thought you said.
You can buy it over at humanoids.com. HUMANOIDS.
It's a good book, and you should definitely check it out. It's something different.
It's different and yet so relatable. I think a lot of people can relate to it, even because most people don't get pregnant on the first try.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's trying to get pregnant has gotten those negative tests. I can't tell you how many parenting groups I've been a part of where the birthing parents are, another negative, buying 50 packs of pregnancy tests.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you're going to use that many.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely relatable and also educational, and I don't know. It was a great piece. A great piece of work. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad that we got that preview from Humanoids.
Yeah,
and
it was. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was good. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah. So
until next time, my name is Mike,
and I'm Parker,
and this is
the Graphic Novel Podcast.